it's Ivy Slater, and you're listening to Her Success Story podcast, a show where gutsy businesswomen share their success journey. Hi, this is Ivy Slater. Welcome to today's episode of Her Success Story. So I have a real treat for you today. I have gotten to know Vivienne Wagner over some time, and we've had some really cool conversations. Vivienne is a dynamic, interesting, and a very, very successful women leader. She has built Houndstooth Media Group, a digital marketing agency out of Southern California, with a team of 16, with a focus on businesses in transforming everything from their website to their SEO and their AI-driven optimization. And this is this SEO to SEO, and I'm AEO, or Vivienne, you're going to get me straight on this.
You bet.
But more importantly, she built this out of, she had a little side hustle and never saw this coming. And these are the businesses we never know what we're actually stepping into when we get started. So one of the reasons I was thrilled to have her success story with Vivienne is for all of us to see what is possible when we keep our eyes open to stepping into opportunity. So Vivienne, thank you for joining me here today on Her Success Story.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So
I love what you're doing.
Thank you. So I have to start with you sharing the story of how your company got started back in the day as you just had, we're both moms. How many kids do you have?
I have 4 sons.
So you have 4 sons, and which son was it that was just a baby?
Grant, the youngest, he's 22 now. He's 22 now, but yeah.
So as we were sharing mommy stories and carrying little ones around with us, share about the birth of Houndstooth Media.
Absolutely. Well, that would kind of start with the birth of Grant, 22 years ago, and I had been out working, and I was so grateful that we were in a position where I got to stay home with him.
Okay.
And I just went on a maternity leave and just never came back. And so that was kind of great. And I was never one of the moms who would scrapbook. I'm creative in other ways, but not the scrapbooking part. But I do have a writing background, and a friend of mine had started a blog and suggested I start one too. Well, this is back in 2008.
What is a blog 22 years ago?
What is a blog? And she started it, and she was writing about quilts. That was her thing. She would make quilts and take pictures of them. I'm like, okay, well, I've got a writing background. I wrote about whatever I wanted, including my kids, because I don't scrapbook, but they were constantly having these daily little things that were funny, or I wanted to just mark down. And so I'd write about it. And I'm fairly certain I published my first blog post, not understanding that it was live on the internet. So I've really come a long way. And I got after doing this for a year or so, somebody left a comment on one of my blog posts, and I was actually offended. How dare you invade my personal corner of the internet? I don't even know what I was thinking, but that was my first experience with search, and what you're putting on your website can have people find you. It was crazy to me. And that just opened up this door. I just went down this rabbit hole, because obviously as a user of the internet, I would search for things and find them, but it never occurred to me why I found them. And so once I figured this out, I built an audience. I created content that I knew people wanted. I monetized it. And so I had this little mailbox money blog machine that I was adding content to every day practically. And
it was starting to buy the diapers.
It absolutely was. It absolutely was. I mean, I started working with companies and brand. I was like an OG.
So what was the
influencer.
transformation? Okay, so I have to ask this because the big origin story is so cool. And then what was the transformation to building the company where Houndstooth is today and having a full team and having an array of clients, like how did that happen? So you're at the kitchen
Yeah.
table writing some tidbits and funny stories
Tidbits.
about our kids that, of course, I find hysterical because I have the same funny stories like, oh my goodness, your
Yeah.
kid did that. You have to hear what my kid did, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So where did
Well,
that transformation, how
absolutely.
did
So
that
after
progress?
I'm doing this for a couple of years, I was on a girls' trip to Mexico, and one of the friends on the trip is a luxury real estate agent in the Los Angeles area. And her brokerage had asked her to write a weekly blog post about Brentwood and Santa Monica and
Yep.
wherever.
Know it
And
well.
she was busy. She's like, I don't have time to do that. I'm selling multi-million dollar houses. Will you please write? Can I hire you to ghost write a blog post that they've asked of me? Sure, no problem. So as I'm doing that for her, I'm looking at to see like her brokerage didn't know how to do marketing. I'm a mom with a mommy blog basically. And I'm looking at this brokerage going, that's not how you use your Facebook page, people. They were wishing each other happy birthday on their Facebook page, and that was it. They're like, yeah, we're on social media. I'm like, that's not how you do it. So I mentioned to the friend who had hired me to do work for her, I said, your people don't know what they're doing. She said, would you talk to them? Sure. Long story short, I ended up from my dining room table revamping a luxury brokerage's marketing department by myself. And it was like one of those things where my
So
friend had,
basically, you use the concept of let's use some common sense, see
Mhm.
what's going on out there, and see how we can serve and putting it together.
Exactly. But the key point was because I already knew these things, I knew how to do it. It was simple, it was common sense to me. I didn't value it as a service to somebody else. And we
And
do that.
that's where we have a problem with charging our worth because it's
That's
easy to us.
it's
Oh my
easy.
goodness, I had that same problem when I got started. People ask me business cards, so how do you do this? When do you hire? I was like, oh, this is easy. And I would just like, because I've done this for
Mhm.
20 some odd years. It's easy.
Yeah, it's easy because we know it. And so I knew all of this stuff because I'd been having my own version of Google College and social media
Yep.
college, just doing it through trial and error on my own. So I had, like, it was worked into all of my fibers of my being. This is how it works. Why didn't this company selling, we're talking Los Angeles luxury real estate, this brokerage house was millions and millions and millions of dollars. Why didn't they know this? And so I I think because I thought they should, I just was like, hey, you got spinach on your tooth. Like that was my attitude. I wanted to just help them there. And my girlfriend was like, give them a proposal. And that hadn't occurred to me. And I'm so grateful to her because she was really she was a person who shifted my focus to this can be a business. She helped me. I'm a mom at my dining room table. She helped me write the proposal. She told me what to put in it. She helped me arrive at a number that felt like a reach to me. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
and you're
that
like, who would pay me for
who
this?
would pay me for that? She goes, just figure out how long it would take you and all of that. And I did, and I had like hourly in my head, right? I'm like, okay, well, if it was like doing the math, and then I like gave it a little cushion, but I
Yeah.
was doing it hour by hour in my head. And she looked at the number and she goes, okay, now triple it. And I about had a heart attack. But what she taught me was I was pricing my time by the hour and I was not pricing based on the value I brought.
Correct.
And that was a huge lesson for me. It was also like, okay, don't be so afraid of asking for it. First of all, know your worth and then ask for it. Don't price gouge. Don't do like,
No, no,
but
no.
the
Don't be,
value you
do not
bring.
be obnoxious. Also understand the market you're playing in.
Mhm.
Your girlfriend was my mother,
Nice.
which
Okay.
wa- which is my mom had an amazing business head. Just very simply, she had she understood bookkeeping and accounting, but she also did all the estimating and upcharges for a commercial film editing company. And when I started this, she's like, you want me to set up your books? I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So she started seeing the numbers and she goes, what are you doing? And I said, well, there's this formula, and, I'll charge like $100 and, times four and this, that, and the other thing. And she's like, I don't know where you got this formula from, but you can't live it. You can't raise your kids on this. So you're not going to make any money. You can't scale this. She goes, put your business head on and look at this objectively. And then she goes, and give me 1 to 3 stories of your clients and what the impact they're having. And I'm like, whoa, you don't normally get that out of, my mother
Right.
has passed by now, but she was in her 90s. Yeah, at the time, she was probably in her 70s. And she just looked at me and she's like, you can't scale this. You're not looking at the numbers, you're not understanding. She goes, you have to look at the value, you have to look at this, that, and the other thing.
Mhm.
And I'm like, every person, every listener, every founder should
Yeah.
have your friend, my mother, somebody in their life who helps them see their value from the outside.
Yes. Because you can't see, if you're in the box, you can't see the label,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, that's awesome that
So
that was
then,
your
so once
mom.
you started build, you started working with a real estate company, et cetera, et cetera. How did you start scaling? What was working for you that you learned?
Okay, and that's interesting because until you know what something is,
Yeah.
you can't scale it, right? So I didn't know what this was yet. I wasn't thinking about scaling, I was thinking about surviving because I was a one-woman show. I bit off way more than I could chew. And I went from like having a very active lifestyle and doing whatever I was doing to I was up and at my dining room table desk by 6 in the morning. I would work all day long, seated, hunched over a computer, doing these things. And then I would finally knock off around 9 o'clock at night, have a glass of wine, go to bed, dream about the project, and get up all over again. So I was in
Rinse and
survival mode,
repeat.
rinse and repeat. And what ended up happening was as I was working on the stuff for the brokerage and still doing my friend's work, the other agents in the brokerage were like, "Can you help me with my social media? I have a question." Like it just started referral and word of mouth, referral and word of mouth. And my friend was very generous, like, "Oh, let me introduce you to some people. Hey, come to our meeting." Like, so she really uh, greased the wheels and opened up my eyes to the power of networking and meeting other people and not coming off salesy, but relationship building, which is how I've built a lot of my business is relationship building. But it was a lot for just me. But coming from the blogging community, I had friends who were like, Rhonda, you're a YouTube expert. I need help. Somebody had like I started pulling in people I already knew, already had a relationship with. So it wasn't like I sat down to make my first hire. I phoned a friend kind of
Right.
situation. And so, and Rhonda is still here to this day doing whatever Rhonda does. But it started very organically, me pulling in friends that I knew because you've got this skill set. Would you like to work from home? Like that's a, and we've been a virtual company this whole time. Um, and I always used to feel kind of weird about that. It felt, it just didn't feel as legitimate that I don't have an
It,
office and a
it
receptionist and
does
all of that.
and I think COVID changed the
Changed it.
perception.
It
And
absolutely did. It absolutely
so
did.
I have to ask you, I have to jump here for a second because there is so much. Oh my God, somebody found me on ChatGPT. How did that
Yes.
happen? So one of the things that I find interesting is business evolution. And I've always found
Yeah.
business evolution interesting. And I will always say, when I stop evolving, at least speaking for myself, when I
Mhm.
stop evolving is the day I lay down and I'm done for life. And we stop growing and evolving. And
Right.
we now have AI, and AI is part of our marketing. And
Mhm.
I work with a lot of law firms and attorneys, and they're like, how did this happen? How did somebody find us on, right? And
Mhm.
there's this next evolution going on. And I know I never get it right. It's SEO, and now it's what, AEO or something like that, or AIO or
I
something. Help
don't think anybody's really landed on it yet. We all know what SEO is, search engine optimization, but AI driven search, they're calling it GEO, they're calling it AIO. AEO, like nobody's really landed on it. It all means kind of the same thing with regard to getting found by AI.
Okay.
So when I talk with clients about using AI, they're like, yeah, yeah, we use ChatGPT and we write blog posts. That's not what I'm talking about. That using it operationally in your business is not the same as getting found by it.
Correct.
So what I tell clients is the most important thing to think about with regard to AI and getting found by ChatGPT or Claude or whoever. AI does not pull its answers out of thin air. It doesn't magically know this stuff. AI uses Google and SEO to get its answers just like everything else. So if you want to get found by ChatGPT, you have to start with SEO and make sure that that stuff's all dialed in. But it's important to know that ChatGPT or any of these AI platforms, they are the new personal referral. They are not only like finding you, they can recommend you if they know who you are, what you do, and who your ideal client is. That stuff is really important for your SEO, but also that's what needs to happen for AI driven search. So if your lawyers are like, how did this client find us? Well, your client maybe tried to be their own lawyer for a minute and went to ChatGPT and said, I'm being sued or I want to sue or whatever their legal question is. Because think about how do you use ChatGPT? You'll put something in and it will respond with all of this stuff. And then it's going to say, do you want me to do this for you? Have you considered that? Or it'll ask you a question. Just let me know. And it guides the conversation. And that's what it is. It's a conversation. Gone are the days where we go to Google and just think of it this way. Google is a librarian who's going to tell you which books to read. They're over there on that shelf. Go get them.
Yep.
AI is the detective who's going to go read all of those books for you and come back to you with a singular answer. So that difference is how people are going through a conversation and think of it like narrowing, narrowing, narrowing. And that's where they can go, well, law firms in New York City that specialize in this are here. This one is highly rated. Consider a consultation call with them. So that's the journey. And replace lawyer with skincare products that you need. Replace lawyer with, I'm getting married. I want I need a wedding dress. Like that's how we're finding things now. And the companies that don't evolve and
Exactly.
understand that, you're gonna have some trouble.
So, I always love to ask like what has surprised you, but in all honesty, I think the whole business has surprised
Oh,
you. Um,
how'd I get here?
how'd this happen?
I don't know.
Um,
Yeah.
what in the last few years, because you've been at this a while, as you said,
Mhm.
the baby that birthed the business, right? The birth the baby, birth the business is 22 now.
Yeah.
What has surprised you though in the where your company is now?
Um, it surprised me really like I said, you can't scale something you don't see what it is. And what surprised me was listening to other people who were like, why are you pigeonholing yourself into this little niche industry? Why just real estate? Well, that's what we do. But can you help this other person? Well, yeah, totally. But I know how to market open houses and properties. And does the internet work the way the internet works? Yeah, it does. Can you help that person? You know what? Oh my gosh, yes, I can. So that has been a surprise as to how stuck and myopic I can be unless I have a voice on my shoulder pointing out the obvious to me, like getting a good strategist, getting a good mentor or coach. Those are the things. Even if you don't have those things, having a friend who will speak the truth to you. Like my number two is a very good friend of mine. And they say don't go into business with your friends. Well, some friends you can, and I'm sorry, my friends helped start the business, and then
Oh,
this really good friend came in and is my operations person, and she's one of the things that took me to, I hire my friends to, we're searching for certain people with certain skill sets, and we hire for fit first and skills second. Because I mean, if your mama didn't teach you to be a nice person with integrity and kindness and the things we look for, I can't help you with that. I don't care how good you are at your skill. So she has grown the company with me from dining room table friends to this team of 16 really awesome people, many of whom have been here for years, years and years.
Wow.
So that's been the surprise is I don't know all the things. I my vision stops at the end of my nose sometimes.
Right.
And the surprise is people who will come in and say, you could be more than this, you can do more. This is what I see. Have you considered that?
Right.
And that's always a surprise, that fresh take. So,
Where do you see what's next for you?
what's next for me?
Where's your vision going next, since you brought the vision in, other than the end of
Yeah,
our nose?
yeah. And it's okay to not have, I work with a business mentor, and we're constantly trying to uh craft the vision. Well, the vision isn't a static thing. The vision is a spot on the horizon. I'm just aiming the boat that way, right? Vision, it's not you're not in a
Right.
car and make a left here. You are looking at that spot on the horizon and moving toward it. It's okay if your vision shifts and changes. And I think your vision also needs to incorporate, what do you want for your personal life? It's not just for the business,
Oh,
right?
100%. It's what do you, to me, I start so much with what do you want and why do you want it, and incorporating the growth of a business that fits each individual's life.
Yes. Yes. So like my vision for the business is to continue to grow my team. And by grow my team, I don't mean numbers necessarily. I don't necessarily need a bigger team. I want to grow my team in their skill set, in what they want. I want them to be so satisfied and happy doing this work. Um, and the way you do that is by pouring into your team.
I
Like,
cannot agree more.
yeah. So that's my vision for my team. For the business, I want to help business owners. That is my objective. My objective is to help people. I mean, this is the best country in the world for building your own economy. You can start at your dining room table with a skill
Yeah.
set you don't even know you have and build a business. That's amazing. And so I love the idea of helping other businesses get seen, be visible, have ChatGPT recommend your business. Like that
Right.
stuff lights me up because it builds your life.
If I asked you for one tip business owners could be doing for their companies or in their marketing, and you could take this in any direction, what would your one tip you would share forward?
Uh, don't ignore the foundation.
Mm,
Don't ignore the SEO is not sexy. It's a little nerdy. Like nobody wants to talk about it. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, don't look for the new shiny thing on TikTok and think that's going to solve your problems if you don't have a solid foundation. The website is your hub of your online footprint. All roads lead to Rome. So your social media should lead all of those things. But if that center isn't strong, everything else is just a spoke in the wheel. And what happens if your center's wobbly? Everything else is wobbly. So the tip for business owners is, do not ignore that foundation. Don't build yourself a house of cards, you know? So, and I see it happen all the time because none of us know what we don't know. And
true.
marketers in particular, I say this as a marketer, man, they can be so slimy. They can be so
They are the
jargon
modern
filled.
day used car salesmen. I hate to say it, and I don't mean
Yes.
that rudely, because listen, we've all bought, many of us have bought used cars in our lives, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? But
Mhm.
there's good people, there's really ethical people. And, one of my foundation principles is I do business with really ethical people.
Mhm.
And I also believe what you have said, Vivienne, is building the good relationships.
Yeah.
And through the good relationships, you will find good marketers and good people, and
Mhm.
not everybody. Find the people that work for you. And
Yeah.
Vivienne, I love where you come from. I love your integrity you show up with, and your ethics you
Thank
show
you.
up with. Touches my heart.
You. Thank you. Now, and you touched on integrity is one of our core values. We have five: integrity, kindness, thankfulness,
Yeah.
loyalty, and humor. And because if you can't
Good
laugh about it, oh
values.
my gosh, it's going to be so. You don't have to be funny to work here, but it'll help. But you have to have a good sense of humor, and we're thankful in all things because even if we make a mistake, that I'm thankful that I have the opportunity to learn from this. Right? We hire based on those principles, those core values. We also choose clients that way because if you are not aligned um, with your client or whoever you're doing business with, if there's that misalignment, if you're working with somebody who's not a kind person, who doesn't have integrity, there's that misalignment, and it will be the hardest money you ever earn. It's not worth it. So you
Oh,
can
I
use
cannot
your
agree more. It becomes the hardest money you'll ever earn when you have a misalignment in your values with a client and a vendor.
Mhm.
Please, 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 like red flags in so many directions. Values matter.
They do. And if you are very clear on what your values are and why you have them, um, it's a great filter, right? So you see the people who aren't a fit coming. When you live and sit in those values, you see the people who are not a right fit coming, and you
Yeah,
figure out a gracious way to say, I don't know that we're the best fit for you. Like you're nice about it. But I mean,
absolutely.
I've fired clients that were nice to me and awful to my team. And I'm like, you can't, mm-mm. So
Nope.
like you let them go. Because again, remember, I want to pour into my team. So, am I pouring into my team if I have them wrestling with somebody who's rude and trying to serve this person who's just awful to them? No, I'm not pouring into my team if I do that. So those core values matter so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you sit with them enough, you recognize them everywhere in your life. So,
So, Vivienne Wagner, founder of Houndstooth Media, Digital Media, I thank you so much for joining me today on her success story. Um, there's so much information for our listeners to gather and learn and um, lean into in this conversation. And I'm grateful for you to sharing that forward.
oh, it's my pleasure. It's absolutely my pleasure. This has been a delight.
And listeners, this is what I say at this point in the show. Take a deep breath in, let it out slowly, and think about one piece of this conversation that is your takeaway. What is the one thing that resonated with you? That's one thing that's driving you, like, oh, gee, I want to learn that. I want to move more into that. Your one takeaway, write it down. I don't care where, I don't care if it's paper, phone, computer, and then make the decision on the one action you're going to take from there. Each week you join us. My wish for you is to each week moves you into another piece of action by all the knowledge that is shared with our wonderful guests at Her Success Story. So thank you for joining me here today, and I will see you next time with more great guests and fabulous content.